Look, we know that sports is a cold game at times, and Blake Griffin certainly learned this because in November of 2017, SI even had a great article where they wrote, the Clippers are all in on Blake Griffin.
They totally are.
They are, yep, and they were. Clipper brass walked Griffin through an empty Staples Center with a virtual museum of his life displayed, and then a mock retiring of his number in which his jersey literally was raised to the rafters of the Coliseum. Clipper for life was the theme.
Well, it was mocking retiring.
And Griffin bought it. He signed a 5-year, $171 million contract with the Clippers. 7 months later, he got traded to the Detroit Pistons. So how is he reacting to it? I've moved on. I feel very happy here. I feel settled. I feel at home. I'm good. The past 2-3 years, all I hear is how bad I am. And I've been hurt, had bad games. I haven't even played the way I have. But we talked about it. This summer, being able to work out for the first time in 3 summers is huge. Last 3 summers, I was fighting and working as hard as I could to get healthy, to be able to play. This summer, I was able to really put time in and work on my game, on my body. I've always been a big believer in hard work pays off. Ish Smith, who I think is one of the most underrated backup point guards in the NBA. We tried to tell him last year, no, Blake, you're the guy. This year, you could see a different mindset. This is his team and we're following. It didn't hurt that Griffin, after missing nearly 90 games with multiple injuries over the previous 3 seasons, enjoyed his first healthy offseason in 4 years. That has been like a staple of this week on this show. Derrick Rose, first time in years, not rehabbing, doesn't have an injury. Blake Griffin, first time in years, not rehabbing, doesn't have an injury. Now we're seeing this. The past couple summers I was working just to be able to play is what he said. This past summer I was finally working to improve, and here's his daily schedule. I come home from practice, take a nap, then I start watching games at night. That's just my routine. I can't tell you one day that I woke up going, man, I wish I was in LA. I mean that. Are we seeing a different Blake Griffin?
Yeah, no, and I was just looking up. I thought it was a 50-point game. I didn't want to oversell it because I remember just, a week ago or so, he put up 50 on the 23rd. He put up 50 points. Again, this and Clipper fans had their issues with him. I was staying positive, but we knew he had the issues that he was having, and you never know what somebody's going through. Again, he started his career with a huge injury. Remember that whole thing when he got Rookie of the Year because it was his second year?
It was the first
as soon as he
Simmons.
entered. Right, yeah. So it happens that way, and we somehow miss what guys may have to go through. And yes, they read social media. Yes, they hear what you have to say. Yes, all the reporters and pundits talk about them, and he knows what's going on. That weighs on you. So although I'm sure he enjoyed the city of Los Angeles more, sometimes a fresh start, and it's fine. I think it's when they traded him, I was like, yeah, it seems like a stab in the back, but I think it's going to help both parties in this situation.
Right.
Because there's so much negative energy towards Blake Griffin at that point, and he needs a new start. I think it kind of helped everybody out.
And the Clippers knew that they weren't trying to win.
Yeah.
So why pay a guy? Well, they paid him, but why have a guy that you have on the books when you don't really have a future for the next 5 years? So why waste that? And that's when they got Tobias Harris, Boban Marjanovic, along with a few others. And the Clippers are okay.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not good. They're not trying to win right now. And the Pistons are.
They'll be entertaining. Yeah.
The Clippers?
The Clippers will be entertaining. I watched the past few games full on, and I was like, I'm gonna watch this whole game.
The only player to watch on that team is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, because man, he could score. Rookie out of Kentucky, that dude can flat out shoot. But with Blake Griffin, last point.
Yeah.
Do you think he stays in Detroit? Or do you think he gets traded maybe in a year or two to a competitor?
Well, I mean, we're going off of what he said, and we know
it's a cold game.
Will always say how much they love it.
That's where I feel bad for the players, by the way. Even though they're getting paid.
It depends on what the performance base is for this team. If they get where suddenly the Pistons are a surprise team and they're in the Eastern Conference semis, and it's fun. They have a great head coach now.
Right.
There's so many things that may fall into place that may keep him there. Who else comes in after this year? And everything that helps them out.
Here's the very last point about Detroit, is that they thought that they were going to have the number, they could have a mini Big Four if this one guy that they drafted high in that year's class, if he panned out, and that's Stanley Johnson.
Yeah.
Because if he panned out into being better than he is now, they would have had Reggie Jackson, Blake Griffin, Andre Drummond, and Stanley Johnson. That's a pretty good starting four. and maybe they would have competed for the Eastern Conference, especially with LeBron leaving, but unfortunately it hasn't panned out in their favor. However, Blake Griffin, are we seeing a different Blake Griffin? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe to TYT Sports. Do you guys want full TYT episodes?
Yeah!
So download YouTube TV and get a 7-day free week trial.